No one's being coerced, no one's being unreasonably pushed here. We've opened up the operational availability of vaccines, but that decision-making is with you and a trusted health professional to advise.
There are a million reasons to get vaccinated, whether it's for your job or somebody else's job, your health or someone else's health. So you can go to the MCG and watch your team win, so you can spend time with your grandkids, so you can travel around the country, travel around the world. There is a million reasons.
No one's being coerced, no one's being unreasonably pushed here.
Every reason, if you want to participate fully in hopefully a much, much better 2022, then being vaccinated is an important part of that.
Oh, I caught that on video, man. I caught that on video. Fuck, that's fucking bad. He didn't do shit. He didn't do shit. No, you're not. Back up.
Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Shule, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia, the home of the New World Order, mate. But of course, we're doing everything for your safety because we love and we care about you. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mum, drop some comments, let us know what it is. Oh! Welcome to Australia, mate. A land where we have over 60% of the population currently in lockdown, where they are not allowed to leave their home unless, of course, they want to do some shopping or do the right thing and get a boom shakalaka, or one of many other reasons like get some exercise. But you get the idea. You can't do anything unless you get the government's permission. We are essentially under martial law. Now, of course, the media will not tell you that. But fundamentally, in many states, many cities like Sydney, the military and the police have been given power to shut down businesses, public gatherings, and do whatever they deem as being necessary if people are not complying. But don't worry, mate. It's legal. I hope you enjoyed that last video because it shows the insanity of what we are dealing with. On one hand, we have the politicians telling us that they are not going to abuse their power, that they're going to be reasonable. And you always got to watch out for words like reasonable and proportionate and safety. These are the talismanic words that are used to cast the wool over your eyes and get you to comply with these totalitarian regimes. The government has no right to be doing any of what it is doing, but of course it is legal because under the legalese system, everyone, essentially you can do anything. I often hear people make arguments like, oh, look, mate, it's the law, it's legal. People need to make a distinction between that which is legal, the legalese system, that which has been sanctioned by the state, and that which is in line with actual law, lawfulness, which deals with the philosophy, the underpinnings of actual lawful conduct, dealing with right and wrong, dealing with individual rights. As it was written in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, this was formed based off of the philosophy of natural justice, the common law, and we've essentially moved away from that. In Australia, since 1973, we've been working under private law. But all around the world, we are working under this associated system, which is essentially the rule of the government. And now we have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where the government is saying it's okay for them to forcibly boom shakalaka you, that they have the right to do that. And I want to illustrate what is going on here. Now, I came across a video that I find very interesting. I want you to check this out.
Some people may not like the information I'm about to share with you, but I can assure you it's accurate. I wish it wasn't, but there is nothing to gain in misleading you and giving you false hope. Firstly, can the Commonwealth Government make COVID vaccinations mandatory? The Australian Constitution in Section 51, paragraph 23A, does not provide an authority for mandatory medical treatment on a person. That would include vaccination. It does allow the Commonwealth, though, to fund treatment, but not to compel it. Because the power to mandate treatment was not given to the Commonwealth under the Section 51, Clause 23A of the Constitution, the Commonwealth cannot mandate treatment under this provision. There are provisions in the Biosecurity Act 2015 made under the Commonwealth's quarantine power that in limited circumstances may authorise directions for individuals, but not for groups of people. The states, on the other hand, can mandate treatment if they pass legislation to that effect. Section 51, paragraph 23A of the Commonwealth Constitution does not restrict the states at the moment. Victoria and Western Australia already have explicit legislation in place that could force a person to be vaccinated. There is nothing to prevent the other states and territories from passing similar enabling legislation to be in line with Victoria and Western Australia. The result of that is that if the Prime Minister can persuade the states and territories to follow his line, they can enable the Commonwealth demands. Is this morally right? Absolutely not. It would be a backdoor way for the Commonwealth to sneak around the Constitution on enforcing injections. Scott Morrison can't do it because of the Constitution. So he's getting the state governments to do it. In summary, although it is unethical, unjustifiable, and a shocking intrusion on people's bodily integrity and human rights, the states have the technical legal power to mandate vaccines. The only solution is to tell them you oppose it, and if they don't listen, vote the wannabe tyrants out of power.
So here is a guy, and from what I can tell, I've checked out some of his other videos, and he's well-intentioned. He's basically not on board with a lot of the stuff that we're seeing going on, but believes that the government has a right to do everything that it is doing. Make no mistake about it, and you can take it to the bank from your chocolate Nubian soul brother, unequivocally, unassailably, definitively, the government has no right to do any of what it is doing. It is unconstitutional, but more importantly, it violates your natural rights. Now, currently, we are working under this system only because it's just become precedent. This is essentially what happens in all societies. When something is wrong, if enough people decide to do it anyway, it starts being accepted. When it comes to the separation of the Commonwealth and the state, it is unconstitutional for any state law to circumvent the highest law of the land. That is the Constitution. I want to make it very clear. According to Section 109 of the Australian Constitution, the Constitution supersedes state laws. So for all of these laws that have been created by the state, oh, look, we have the right to boom shakalaka you. We got the right to lock you up in your homes. We got the right to track you, make you scan, use your phones to scan the QR codes because it's all in line with the state laws. They're unconstitutional. And ladies and gentlemen, if a state law is not consistent with the constitutional law, according to the Constitution, the constitutional law supersedes the state law. But do we hear the politicians making reference to this? No, because fundamentally, they don't care about that. They're doing what they want to do. And because this has become a precedent over time, you often hear politicians talk about this. Oh, look, the states can do whatever they want. Most of you momos out there have actually accepted that. Most of the lawyers, the politicians work under this system that the states can actually create laws that circumvent the Constitution, but more importantly, circumvent your natural rights. It does not work like that. Constitutionally and lawfully, morally, states cannot violate your individual rights. And I want to make this very clear, specifically in relation to the QR codes. I'm experiencing businesses now think that it's actual law to have people put in, well, to use their phone to essentially be traced by the government. Now, whereas I understand that this may be a state law, I want to make reference to Section 94H, the Privacy Act 1988, which essentially prevents the government from tracking you. Now, granted, the states, once again, have created their laws. This law, this constitutional law, is supposed to supersede that. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is that whereas we have a lot of laws being created, and they're not even laws, they're directives. People always make reference to the public health order, how essentially we can't have groups being locked down, that only individuals can be identified by the appropriate Orwellian douchebags in order to be restricted. But even that alone is not lawful. What we've had time and time again is the government make amendments to the Constitution, not even following the rules of the Constitution, not even going through a referendum. We've had this Biosecurity Act since 2015 in Australia, mate, been put in place, and people are taking this as if it is sacrosanct. Make no mistake about it, this was done without a referendum, went through Parliament without a referendum. You cannot do that. So essentially, we have a government that is, one, creating laws that circumvent your constitutional rights, your natural rights, and doing so because it thinks it is necessary. There's another word you got to look out for. Necessary. Oh, it's necessary. People are always making this argument, politicians, oh, look, we had to put in a public safety act in order to protect people, and we did it without a referendum, but it was for your best interest. And because this stuff has become the norm now, people accept this. Make no mistake about it. All of this is unlawful. The lockdowns, the mandatory masks, the mandatory boom shakalakas, and granted, the politicians would tell you that they have every legal right to do that. They do have every legal right to do that. Legally speaking, they can legislate anything they want to, but it is absolutely unlawful and it is immoral. Legally speaking, we could have a state tell you that you are not allowed to leave your homes. Oh, wait a sec. They're already doing that. We can have a state tell you that you must wear a mask. You must use your phone to scan these QR codes. You must be forcefully raped. You must allow a police officer to come into your house and rape you. Literally, actual rape you. And of course, this can be legislated. All that needs to happen is some bureaucrat saying it's necessary, feeling as if he's not going to lose his job, feeling as if the majority of people will go along with it, and voila, there we have it. Nazi Germany all over again. People just going ahead with this. We are all caught up in this massive Milgram experiment right now, where people are just going on board with these dictates because everyone else is doing it. And the government is taking it upon itself to create these ridiculous asinine laws because most people have very little understanding of their rights. And because this precedent has been set, once again, that it is okay for the government to do these things. Ladies and gentlemen, it is incumbent upon all of us to educate ourselves not only on the legalese system so we can figure out how to defend ourselves, but also on our natural rights. Fundamentally, you own yourself. This is the fundamental basis of Western law. It's based on the idea of natural rights, natural justice, and the common law is supposed to be a reflection of this. But over time, we're seeing, and it's not just the politicians, it's people in general, fearing for their safety and acquiescing to these ridiculous, not even laws, decrees, because they care about their safety. And then we hear these talismanic words, proportionality, reasonable. It's reasonable for us to lock you in your homes. It's reasonable, mate. I'm not on board with that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to bring up a few topics, hot button issues that we're dealing with. One, breaking news. Canberra, which has been amazing. It seems to be one of these states that has been unaffected by the boom shakalaka 19. It went into a 7-day lockdown. Want to know why? Because of one single case of the dreaded Rona, and all of Canberra goes into a lockdown. This is Australia, mate. And what's interesting is the Fair Work Ombudsman. This is an organization that essentially regulates whether or not employers are being fair to their employees. It just changed their website today to make it possible for employers to force employees to take the boom shakalaka. I think you know what I'm talking about. So essentially, state and territory governments have made and may continue to make public health orders requiring workers to be boom shakalaka against boom shakalaka 19 in their state or territory. Employers and workers need to comply with any public health orders that apply to them. the current public health orders requiring boom shakalation in various states and territories are outlined below. And there we have it. Essentially, the government giving a go-ahead for the employers to mandate boom shakalakas. But make it very clear. Of course, this is depending on the contract that you have. But if your contract has got nothing to do with you having to take a boom shakalaka or get tested, then your employer has no right to be forcing you to do this under the threat of losing your job. And it's incumbent upon you to take these people to task. I've explained this in previous videos. Write letters, get clarification. Don't become one of these crazy conspiracy theorists that's like, oh, look, man, oh, you had no right to be doing what you're doing, and I'm gonna, oh, you're completely insane. No, be reasonable, be rational, document everything, use as evidence, and if need be, take them to court. If enough people decide to take these people to court, this is how we see the tide change. Employers are going to get the idea, maybe it's not a good idea to tell employees that they're going to lose their job and violate their contract just because the government is telling them that they should. I mean, look, if the government is coercing these employers, I feel for them, but it's not on you. It's not on you as an employee. It's something between the employer and the government. It's incumbent upon the employer not to suffer the coercion from the government. Just because someone has been coerced to do something, it doesn't mean that you have to be coerced. This is something that a lot of people fail to understand. Just because someone... if I'm a police officer, of course, the idea of me being a police officer is ridiculous, right? If I'm told to go and harass someone, to go and coerce someone to wear a mask or take a boom shakalaka, now, doesn't mean that you have to comply with it because I'm coercing you. First of all, it's up to me to not obey my orders. If I'm a good person, I don't go along with that. It doesn't mean that you have to comply just because I'm telling you to, and just because I've been told to by my leaders, mate. But you know what? The Chocolate Nubia does not have any leader, any ruler telling him what he can and cannot do. I take ownership for my actions. You cannot abdicate yourself from responsibility. But unfortunately, we have a lot of popos, a lot of politicians that think they can. Oh, look, it's not my fault. It's the health minister. It's the science. I don't want to lock you down. Look, mate. I hate having to lock you in your homes and violate all your natural rights and go against human rights, but I have no choice. This is what we hear time and time again, right? There's always a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Always a choice. Finally, I just want to bring up one more issue. This is an article I recently came across. So doctors have been warned that they could lose their license for contradicting the CDC info on boom shakalaka treatments and boom shakalakas. Well, this is no new story. Essentially, doctors are part of the system, and if they go against the narrative, they can lose their jobs. Now, of course, I'm not going to say anything more than that, but I'm going to say it's incumbent upon you to be wary of this, to realize that a lot of the times you are being told what you're being told because doctors essentially want to continue getting paid. And this happens in all levels of this society. Essentially, we're dealing with people that are prostitutes of the system a lot of the time, and they will rarely put their neck out to do the right thing. So you have to be critical. You have to be questioning everything that you hear. Refrain from judgment until you are more conversant with the facts. Listen, but ultimately make decisions for yourself. Activate your heart, your mind, and use these in order to arrive at what is going on. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, brothers and sisters around the world, be sure to check out the links below if you want to support us, if you want to continue to have me drop my wisdomatic truth bombs and cover what's going on in the New World Order, mate. Buy us a coffee, share, like this video. Really appreciate you. Appreciate those that are doing so. And be sure to check out the Telegram group. That's the best way to keep in touch with us. Because, look, I don't know how long I'm going to be on these tubes. Before you know it, I'm going to get another strike, and you're not going to hear from me forever. And you're like, why isn't Chris Shul, the Chocolate Nubian, posting any videos? Well, it's because he's been taken out, ladies and gentlemen. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am on many other avenues. So be sure to check us out. Be sure to stay tuned. Tell your mom, tell your friend, and remember there are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother. Signing out. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.